Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on KREM 2 News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti. And before we get to Regan and a look at what's happening at that school, we have a look at the weather with meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thomas.
Yeah, good afternoon, Laura. I'll take you right to our outdoor weather center where it is about just as cold as it was this morning as well. So conditions probably just going to be stuck in place for really several more hours here. So yeah, still gray skies over my head. And I show you the satellite and radar to prove that it actually got cloudier earlier this morning because a secondary wave of clouds was actually dropping in from the north. I think I could technically analyze this as a cold front. There's some weak northerly winds passing through, though it isn't really going to change our overall weather pattern too much because it's actually the base cloud cover, that low clouds that are just stuck in place. That's the same clouds that were here yesterday and the day before, so on and so forth. But yeah, there is just this little boundary that's passing through. My hope is that any gentle northerly winds might actually help to thin the clouds this afternoon, but I'm not so confident. Again, it is just absolutely overcast skies, but temperatures have made a marginal bump up since this morning. Our low is 26, our current temperature is 29 degrees. So not nothing, and a few spots are just barely into the 30s as we cross past noon right now. So not much change in the way here. Again, that little weak system, that little passing bit of mid-level cloud cover, hardly any kind of effect for now. So similar temperatures to what we had the last several days, and still the next 5+ days look pretty much the same as well. So coming up, I'll show you any major weather impacts that may or may not be on the way for the Pacific Northwest. Your full forecast is in about 10 minutes.
Thomas, appreciate the update. In the meantime, we do have breaking news. There is a moving truck stuck under a bridge on Stevens Street. This is a live look right now. The tow truck is there, and the road is expected to clear in about 45 minutes. And as you can see, as our camera makes movement there, you can see where it got stuck. And you're being asked, of course, to avoid that area if you can. Again, this is in the downtown area, bridge on Stevens Street. I believe it's not too far from LC, Lewis and Clark. But again, we do have a crew there. We will be checking in with them in just a few moments. And we now know a total of 7 people went to the hospital after a double-decker bus crashed into a bridge. That was over the weekend on Sunday. Spokane Transit Authority says the bus was coming back from Cheney before the crash. KREM 2 spoke to 2 victims of the incident. James McShane was riding on the lower part of the bus when the crash happened. McShane says he was thrown into plexiglass, cutting his mouth and face, even knocking out his front tooth.
A police officer came in to give us the report and told us that James was actually hurt the worst. James, being the sweetheart he is, he said he was glad to know that he was the worst injured because at least he knew he was going to be okay eventually.
That was a very kind thing to say. A student at Eastern Washington was also hurt. Megan Hubbs says she was riding on the upper level of the bus and got hit in the face by a plastic ceiling panel. Both passengers remember thinking the bus was not traveling on its normal route. STA says they are investigating what happened.
At this point, there is no clear understanding of why the bus was off route other than clearly the operator turned at the wrong street.
Been with STA for more than 4 years and is now on administrative leave. STA has pulled all double-decker buses from the roads for the investigation. Brandon T. Jones explains what commuters can now expect.
Well, if you relied on any of these double-decker buses, things are just going to be looking a little bit different here for the immediate future. Those double-deckers, they've been removed, and now that route going back to more of those traditional smaller buses. That route, of course, is Route 6, taking commuters from Cheney all the way to here in downtown Spokane. This is a route that makes stops at Eastern Washington University, Four Lakes, and the West Plains Transit Center. If you can remember, these double-decker buses were introduced to help meet the growing demand for passengers along this route, an effort to avoid overcrowding. STA does have a service change alert listed on their website right now. There you can also find a full breakdown of the routes and run times. For now, though, reporting here in downtown Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Brandon, thank you. Coming in new at noon, an update on the Adams Elementary School construction project. Today we spoke with the Spokane Public School Superintendent about the next steps.
Yeah, so we're on time in our anticipated schedule for Adams Elementary. Students started at Camp Adams when we returned from winter break. That's gone really well. And now we're beginning the process of abatement and salvage leading to demolition. That'll happen over the months of January and February, when we're hoping that by the end of March, we'll be ready to start new construction.
SPS expects the new school to open in time for the 2027-2028 school year. Meanwhile, SPS Winterfest is coming up fast, January 30th. This is part of the school's Engage in Real Life initiative, which aims to keep kids involved outside of the classroom and outside of their screens. Downtown Spokane will be filled with free activities like ice skating and, we're told, games and lots of fun. Happening today in Olympia, a Washington family is supporting Senate Bill 6070 at a hearing, a proposal that would create what's called purple alerts for missing adults with cognitive or developmental disabilities. Now, the bill was inspired by the disappearance of 21-year-old Jonathan Wong, who vanished last March and is still missing. His family says he has the mental capacity of about a 9-year-old. Here in Washington state, adults with autism who go missing are eligible for an endangered missing persons advisory. However, officers didn't issue this advisory until 5 days after his disappearance.
Despite our family sharing that he wouldn't be able to get home, with the purple alert, it would be, really, really clear who it applies to and who it doesn't.
The bill hopes to make purple alerts as widely identifiable by the public and police as, say, an amber alert. It would also allow police to issue search warrants for evidence. A Spokane church is one step closer to reopening and bringing with it more housing. Coming up in 3 minutes, where they are at in completing their church mission.